Thank you, Alan. And now Martin Bucholz from Berlin is here to talk about the Watergy Greenhouse project.
Thank you so much to the jury and BFI. I'm very honored to be here and at this stage. I would like to talk a little bit about the project. Well, we have the point of a resource crisis with growing population and overuse of landscape. This is not only an oil crisis, of course, it's about water, food, it's about the planet we are about to exploit. Can we imagine a supply system on Earth which is working without this? I believe there is one, and this is probably the major resource is our waste. That means our emissions have to be positive emissions, and there is a plenty of products we can make out of it. And maybe the Watergy Greenhouse can help a bit in this way. This is a scheme of it. So we worked on a climate control system for a closed production system. That means we have humid, warm air, and we cool it down with a cooling duct and get condensed water by putting in irrigation water. This can be wastewater or evaporative cooling water. This could be salty water. And from this humid air we get back the condensed water by cooling the air, and the coolant we get from the night. So we heat up a storage through the day, and the night we use to get rid of the heat and restore the coolant storage. And by this, sorry, I got some rain. So that's all. And at least also some wind. So the buoyancy driving up hot air and the falling air, which is heavier going down, it's like in a closed atmosphere. But the point where it gets to the economic value is not the water, but it's two other things. One is the CO2, which also is an emission, but here it is possible to increase the concentration of CO2 up to 3 times higher than in atmosphere, and this is the limiting factor in growth. Once we have enough water, nutrients, light, etc., we can increase photosynthesis by this process, and this is the thing which runs the process economically. And here's some photos. We had green beans, French beans, okra. Sorry, this was a bit fast. And we also built a second prototype in Berlin, which is about a facade greenhouse. And this greenhouse is functioning the same way. We have the same circular air circuit with a cooling tower, which then is in the building. But the emphasis here is to produce heat for using this greenhouse as a kind of solar collector. This is quite complicated. We produce humid air in the greenhouse, and by a process with using desiccants, we can transfer humidity into heat, and by this can have at cooler temperatures in the storage can produce hotter air in the building. There are some pictures of this greenhouse. This is a technical room with the heat exchanger, which is the same one than in the Almeria prototype. We also work about water here. We have a wastewater separation system, including a vacuum toilet. And now, which are the concepts which could grow on this system? That's what I would like to talk about as well. So one thing is the closed water circuit. So we get condensed water. This is kind of fresh water we can supply to urban areas, giving back wastewater or pre-treated wastewater to the greenhouse, which is a real exchange. This should work on a non-monetary base, getting free water for free nutrients, and running the system with a horticultural production. This is a concept for a gravel filter for the pre-cleaning of wastewater, which is optimized that we keep the nutrients, the normal constructed wetland is supposed to just get rid of the nitrogen. This one, we want it in the irrigation water. This is a process we designed for getting a very broad, holistic concept how a city in an arid region could live on using different types of greenhouse, using different kind of water sources in the up, these blue ones, pre-treatment methods, and producing different kind of products, which is food, which is non-food biomass, which is other products we can derive from biological material. And after the after the life cycle of these products, we get back the wastewater, we get back the solid waste, which we process in a way that we can use a CO2 and we can use charcoal, which is a part of the processing method, to improve the growth quality in the greenhouse. It's also thought that we can build a kind of new industry on this concept while producing on the one side organic matter on places which we cannot do now because it's too dry or too hot or too cold, and on the other side having a desalination process and getting together with the sea minerals and the organic material, producing the new hardware for our future city, I would say. Looking at this photo from Buckminster Fuller, the bamboo dome, well, you could grow bamboo in the greenhouse, but it's also very interesting that this very simple design helps people to make it, once they have understood, to build buildings by themselves. And also the flea eye is an example of a building that can be done from this material base. We worked out with students different shapes of greenhouses which are optimized for light construction, material reduction, but also looking at the beauty of shape which we design. These are just a few of these examples. And also, this is an older example, already thinking about the combination of a building within a greenhouse with a landscape, covered landscape, and a building inside which is just a shelter by a transparent foil or glass structure, and inside everything can be very simple. These are concepts for other heat exchangers, making the system cheaper, using the soil for storing the heat from day to night and vice versa, to make the thing cheaper, integrating kind of high-tech composting, solid state fermentation, not to produce only biomass, but also getting higher graded products from the greenhouse, using the salt of the desalination process with all the minerals inside of the desalination process, and also using solar energy concentrating systems in the greenhouse, reflecting the near-infrared light on a point while leaving the visible light and UV light for the photosynthesis, by this creating cities that are surrounded by greenhouse structures that can really be the supply function for the city in terms of food, water, energy, and renewable material. Well, that's a story about that. Thank you very much. Special thanks to all my partners, institutions, especially the two persons, Guillermo Zaragoza and Patrick Jochum, who contributed a lot to the success of this project. Thank you.